Hey YouTube, BR14.04 here, and today I am going to review Ubuntu's newest release. That is Ubuntu 14.04. I believe the cutesy animal name they have picked for this one is Trusty Tahar, and for those of you who don't know, you can look it up on Wikipedia. Tahar is a kind of a goat. Don't know if I'd want to name something after a goat, but anyway, that's the folks at Canonical for you, and that's how they name their operating systems. Well, in any case, I have played around with various newer flavors of Ubuntu to realize that. So please take this with. I caution you to take this review with a grain of salt, if you were, because I'm going to be upfront with you. I don't like the Unity desktop. I didn't like it back when they introduced it with years ago with the Ubuntu Netbook Remix, and I still don't like it now. And as I go through this review, you'll see I'll point out some of the things that annoy me about it. You know, the biggest thing, it's just such a large paradigm shift from the traditional desktop metaphor that most people who've been using computers for any amount of time are used to. It's a paradigm that has been defined for better or worse by Apple and Microsoft, and it's how most people approach a desktop computing experience. Now, I understand the design goal behind this is to have a unified layout that works as well on a desktop as it does on a touch-enabled mobile device. I get it, but you know that they're two different critters and they work two different ways. I mean, maybe if this was a touch screen, maybe I would find it a little bit more usable, but as a desktop operating system, I find it doesn't work for me. Your mileage may vary. It's a free country. You're free to disagree with me. So anyway, not a big change from previous recent versions of Ubuntu as far as the layout and as far as software that's included over here on. I don't know what the official Ubuntu name for this area over here is. Side dock, taskbar. I'm going to call it a side dock because that's what it seems to be. It seems to me that's what it is. You can see that you have access a search function to search online. It tells you search your computer and online sources. File manager, Firefox web browser. You've got your LibreOffice writer, Calc, which is a spreadsheet, Impress, which is the presentation, PowerPoint analog. Ubuntu Software Center. Looks like you get a direct link to Shop Amazon, which I don't know how I feel about that. System settings and your trash. But what else is on here? How do you find what else is on here? Well, if I approach this as someone who, say, is maybe migrating from a Windows system, and I know this is Ubuntu and that this looks like it might be a start, something kind of like a start button or a start arm. I'm going to click that and see what it does. Okay, it gives me a search your computer and online resources. Okay, some applications here, but what all do I have installed on here? Well, let's see. We'll click on this. Okay, so that's 2 clicks so far. Okay, installed. Takes me 3 clicks to see all of the applications that I already have installed on the system, and they're just listed alphabetically. They're not listed. They're not grouped functionally in any way, which I find to be a problem. So in the plus column, it comes with a lot of software so that you can get to using your computer right out of the box without presumably needing to download anything else, which is a plus. And I do want to say something about the installer. Installation is dead simple, and it does give you the option when you run the installer, if you're online, to download software updates as it's installing, so that when it's done and you eject that live DVD and you do a restart and log in, you're ready to go. There's not something telling you, there's not something flashing at you telling you you gotta install updates before you can do anything else. So thumbs up on that. Let's see here. Alright, well, I want to install a printer. This is running in a virtual machine, so I'm pretty sure it'd be a little bit snappier if this were running on actual hardware. Okay, so let me add a printer, and we're going to do a network printer. Browse for it. Okay, yeah, that's my work group, and that's I know I've got a printer. I know I have a printer installed on that, a shared printer on that particular computer. Let's see if we can. Nope. Huh, it's not showing me. Well, how about that? Well, my problem might be that I'm not joined to a domain, or I'm not joined to the work group. So let's maybe I can find that in settings. Maybe I need to join this to a maybe I need to join this to a domain. I don't see anything, or to a work group. Click all settings here. I don't see any options. Well, we'll try network, but I doubt that's what it's going to be. Yeah, it's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the option that will allow me to join to a Windows work group, something that says Samba. Well, I'll try that search, and I'll type in Samba. Huh. Oh, Samba's installed because I have a Samba folder. Let me open that up. See what the path is. etc Samba. Yeah, that's so. And I know what the answer to this is. I would have to open up smb.conf as root. I'll open it up now. Of course, I can't really edit it because you got to open it as an administrator, and then I'd have to change that work group equal my home work group, and then I would also have to put in a NetBIOS name line under here, and then I'd have to add any shares to the bottom. So, of course, this is what I'm about to say here is not a dig on Ubuntu in particular. It's a dig on Linux in general. It's 2014. There should be an easy way to join. There should be a graphical way to point and click and join a computer running Ubuntu or running Linux Mint or running anything. There should be, if Samba, which is the networking protocol that lets a Linux computer participate in a Windows domain or a Windows work group, that's been around forever. Microsoft has had networking around, and it's been point and click to join a computer to a domain or to a work group, since Windows for Workgroups 3.11. Okay, that's how far back, that's how long Microsoft's been able to do it. It's 2014. I don't understand why there's not a graphical way to enable that in a modern Linux distro. It makes no sense to me. When I was playing around with this earlier, I did see one thing. Where was it? I think I'll do a search for file sharing. File share. Personal file sharing. You would think it would be under that, but this feature cannot be enabled because the required packages are not installed on your system. Well, what the hell? Why isn't it installed by default? I don't get it, and it's given me absolutely no help in figuring out. It doesn't tell me what packages I need, and packages, that's another thing. And this is just the guy who's been using Linux a while, mostly Ubuntu derivatives, and I can't figure out why it's not included in here. But I have always I've always added software one of two ways on an Ubuntu derived system. I've either done it from the terminal using apt-get, or I've done it using graphically using Synaptic. Synaptic's not there. It's not included in this distro. I know they have their Ubuntu Software Center, and I guess that's the way they want you to install software, but I like the control that the more fine-grained control that you get with Synaptic. That's just me. So far, the plus is on Ubuntu. Installation's dead simple, like it always has been. It does come with a lot of really good software right out of the box. Minuses, of course, this can apply to any Linux distro. You still have to edit a text file to get to work in a Windows workgroup or domain. And here's another big one. I mean, this one just set my teeth on edge when I found it. You click on System Settings, go over here to Details, and I have some privacy concerns with this, and I'll show you if it'll. Okay. Okay, fine. All right. Legal notice. Send that to the background. Searching in the dash, legal notice. This search function is provided to you by Canonical Group Limited. This legal notice applies to searching in the dash and incorporates terms of Canonical's legal notice. Collection and use of data. When you enter a search term in the dash, Ubuntu will search your Ubuntu computer and will record the search terms locally. Okay, no problem there. Unless you have opted out, see online search section below, we will send your keystrokes as a search term to productsearch.ubuntu.com and selected third parties so that we may complement your search results with online search results from third parties including Facebook, Twitter, BBC, and Amazon. Canonical and these selected third parties will collect your search terms and use them to provide you with search results by using Ubuntu. By searching in the dash, you consent to the collection and use of your search terms and IP address this way. The storage of your search term address by an IP address by Canonical with selected third parties if applicable. Okay, that right there. Well, I've already used the search thing, so now they've already sent my IP and my IP address, and you know, hello. This is why. This is the deal breaker right here. That privacy notice should be up front, and you should be able to opt out of it when you install this. I saw nothing about that during the installation of this operating system. And now, just by using that search term, I have potentially compromised my privacy. So, you know, at the risk of sounding like some left-wing crank, that right there is the reason I will not recommend anyone using this operating system. Now, I know the Linux community owes a lot to Canonical and Ubuntu because they've brought a lot of great things to the table, and my favorite distribution, Linux Mint, wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Ubuntu. But you know, I think the next time I upgrade Linux Mint, I'm going to go to the Linux Mint Debian edition, because so that there's no association with Ubuntu anymore. That's dangerous, and I think that's a betrayal. This is a betrayal of everyone who's ever used this operating system. I cut my teeth on Linux with Ubuntu. I think it was back probably around version 7.04, I think, is when I first started using it. It was the very first distribution that I ever installed on a computer. Linux distro I ever installed on a computer. And I only stopped using Ubuntu when they went by default to this Unity interface, which I hate. Okay? But if that's all, if the Unity interface took the world over by storm, which I don't think it will, and that was all you could get, I might learn to live with it. But that search thing, that privacy thing right there, that's a deal breaker. So I'm saying don't use Ubuntu. Yeah, sure, you can opt out, but you know, they need to be upfront with you and tell you that in install time. If they would put that legal notice in the installer and let you opt out when you installed, I wouldn't have as big a problem with it. But to bury that notice in the settings, where most people will never go looking for it, that's wrong. Shame on you, Canonical. This is BR Tidwell 55. Thanks for watching.